Hey, and a very warm welcome to the Into the LightWeb podcast with me, your hostess, Joanna Hunter, metaphysical teacher, spiritual life and business coach, published author, and the high priestess of the LightWeb, a spiritual technology that will change your life. This is the place to be to talk everything under the LightWeb, from consciousness, relationships, to money, to spiritual business, and everything in between. Hey, it's Joanna Hunter here for another solo episode. And in today's episode, I received a question from a client that is going through a really hard time. And I think all of us can empathize when we are all going through a difficult and hard time, how hard it is to not slide into those victim vibes, or what I call the fuck my life vibes. So let me read out the question that we have got here. So, vulnerable post here. I'm incorporating all the teachings and I've been feeling better than I have in quite some time. And thanks. And I have seen lots of yellow butterflies. So this person is part of my Unity program where we have an exercise on yellow butterflies. That said, things in my external world are getting worse. We're in a heat wave and our AC, our air conditioning, broke. My husband was fired, and we already used our emergency fund on other emergencies this past year. We are pretty much broke. What do you suggest that I do to stay out of the victim and F my life energy? Okay. The first thing that we need to do is to take a big old breath. It can feel so immediate and so intense when we're in that situation. And I have been in that situation on numerous occasions. When I first began building this current business that I have, I began building it from a place of living on the good old British benefit system, welfare to my American friends. And it was a very, very difficult situation to be in because I was so afraid, so scared what was going to happen. I was so afraid of how are we going to make ends meet or get where we need to go. And it's a really difficult situation to be in there, but difficult does not mean impossible. And that's where we need to begin. We need to understand that we are in a difficult situation. The next thing that we need to understand is that that situation is temporary. It will not be your situation forever, even though when you're in the mix of it, in the thick of it, it can feel like, I don't know how it'll ever get better, and you really, really do feel like the walls are closing in on you. The next thing that we have to do is understand that as there can sometimes be a worsening of a situation. So we're doing all the things and then the situation gets worse. And excuse me, what the F, universe? I'm doing all the things. I'm keeping myself upbeat. I'm, working my spiritual practices. I'm doing all the things. And then we have this situation, instead of feeling like the universe is rewarding us, it's just kind of piling more onto our plates. So I want to describe to you what is happening in the metaphysics in that moment. So when we've been on a different vibration, so maybe that vibration that created the energy of not having enough, or the energy of things being very tight or very difficult financially, when we've been on that vibration and frequency for a long time, we've got to acknowledge that that is a vibration and frequency. And when we are on that vibration and frequency, we then make a decision. I'm going to sort myself out. I'm going to change my vibration. I'm going to change my frequency, or I'm going to change my life, however we have worded that for ourselves. And we start doing the work, right? We start doing the spiritual practices. We start thinking more positively. We start doing all of the things. There's going to become a tipping point. So what I want you to think of is like scales. So at the beginning, your dominant vibration and frequency is this older vibration and frequency that we are now wanting to get rid of. And that's been the dominant one. And then what happens is the less dominant one is the new vibration and frequency, because it's brand new and it's not being given so much energy and attention. But as we start to give this brand new energy and attention, it starts to rise. When those are almost at equal level, the new frequency and the old frequency is almost at equal level, what we reach in the metaphysics is a point that I call the checkpoint. Now, the checkpoint is, and it works on this principle that your vibration and frequency is actually locked in place. Okay, so instead of us experiencing, like, you know, how our emotions go up and down throughout the day. Okay, can you imagine if the vibration and frequency, aka your life experience, matched your emotional landscape, right? Like, we would literally get whiplash from our life experience. We wouldn't know which way is up and which way is down because our emotions move so quickly and fast. And imagine if the outer world kept, it would be like living inside a kaleidoscope. You move one fraction of a way and something would be shifting and changing, because that's how quickly our emotions flit and change. So in order to prevent that, the universe has a kind of like a fail safe of where they lock a vibration and frequency in. Now, you got to remember, from universal consciousness, the universe does not see any vibration as better than another vibration. All vibrations just are. They're all experiences. Obviously, from a human perspective, we are like, girlfriend, not all vibrations were created equally. They are not all the same, but to the universe, there's neither good nor bad. They just are experiences. And your human will disagree wholeheartedly and say, let me tell you, I know there are some good vibes and there's some bad vibes out there. So we're the one that creates that judgment on the vibration and the frequency, and that's okay. That's part of being human. That is part of being human. So back to where we are in the metaphysics. So when the metaphysics gets to this place of like equal point, and the old vibration is about to be deleted, possibly, and the new vibration has met itself. So now we're at equal level. It will engage something in your energetic field, which we call, or Skylar teaches, called the checkpoint. So what it'll do is it'll take a concentrated burst of the old vibration and frequency, the vibration and frequency that you have been on for quite a while, and it will send that concentrated burst into your life. At this point, this is when many of my clients and people like that will say, the universe is testing me. I am being so tested right now. What Skylar teaches is that the universe does not test us. It will never test us. A test is unfair in a way, if you think about it, for we're here to have an experience. Why would we need a test in an experience? We would not need a test in an experience. So the universe does not test us, it checks us. Are you sure you want to let go of this vibration and frequency? You've been on it for a while. So when the checkpoint energy hits, what will happen is it can give the illusion, or actual facts, there's a lot of things going wrong in your life all at once in rapid succession. If all of those things happened just not so rapidly and so concentrated together, it would probably be just another day, right? But because they all come together, there's this like, holy moly, like I'm doing the work, I'm doing all the things, I'm sorting myself out. Why is this all coming all in one big go? And it's a lot to handle. Now, each vibration, the new vibration and the old vibration, have corresponding actions and have corresponding consciousness to them. So the old consciousness, let's call the old consciousness a victim consciousness, and the new consciousness a winner consciousness. Okay, so just make this example super simple. So out of the victim consciousness, because that was the old vibration, we get a concentrated burst of things that make us feel like a victim. And we're like, holy moly, this is a lot. Now, if we behave in the old way would be to start telling the story of how victimized we are, how life's got it in for us, how difficult things are, all of those things. We maintain the old vibration and frequency. However, if we are really, really committed to our path of changing our frequency and changing our vibration, if we respond with behavior that is in alignment to the new vibration and frequency, something really cool happens. So we go from this checkpoint of equal, and the new vibration rises if we respond in this way, lowering the old vibration. And now the new vibration is actually the dominant frequency. At that point in time, the fail-safe that the universe has placed so that we're not getting whiplash from our life experience locks into place, and it will lock the new vibration into place until we start giving attention to another vibration. So if we're on a track of incrementally improving our lives, the next thing that we could do is give an even better vibration, and we'll go through exactly the same process again. But this time, because this time we're not moving from negative to positive, we've gone from positive to even more positive. So now the checkpoint won't feel so gnarly. The checkpoint often feels really gnarly when we are moving from a more negative original frequency to a new, more positive frequency, because obviously the checkpoint is birthed out of the old frequency. And if the old frequency is a frequency that has been full of stress and full of fear and full of difficulties and challenges, then the checkpoint will contain those difficulties and challenges. And the universe is literally just asking a question: are you sure you want to release this? Now, we're like, is the universe crazy? Like, of course I want to release this. But here's the thing, when we're in this situation, is that the universe doesn't think like humans, you know? The universe is not sitting there thinking, oh yeah, of course she's going to want to release this, delete this negative thing. What the universe is saying is, whatever we give attention to, we get more of. Now we've stopped giving our attention to our current life experience, and we're shifting our attention to things like gratitude. Maybe we're working a gratitude practice. Maybe we're journaling and tapping, and we're using positive tools that belong to a different vibration and frequency. So it's got to check. Are you certain you want to delete this old frequency? You've been on it for a while. Are you certain you want to do that? And so when we're going through this, that is what's going on in the metaphysics. That is what's going on in the energy. So the key right here is to know when the checkpoint arrives that you haven't done anything wrong. You haven't messed up. Yes, it is scary. Yes, it is a difficult place to be. But I want you to take solace in the fact that it is a really, really powerful indication of the work and the foundation that you have already laid for a new vibration, and that new vibration has now the possibility of being locked in place. So in this post that you sent to us, you mentioned that both you and your husband have been going through it. So this is something that you can do as a team effort, but you don't need to attach your energy to your husband's. But what you could do is really, really double down. What I always do for me when I've hit checkpoints in the past is that's my indication to double down on the practices that have helped me to get to the checkpoint in the first place. So if I've got a gratitude practice going, or I've got something happening, what I do is I double down on that practice, and I start to like go even deeper, and I'm like absolutely adamantly showing the universe, this is the change that I want. This is the difference that I want. This is what I am wanting to create and do. And then that helps me to move through the checkpoint much faster and quicker, because I'm showing my intentionality that, yes, I want the old vibration and frequency deleted. And I know it's difficult when the fear is there. And I know it's difficult when there's a lot of things feeling like they're going wrong and things are getting worse in your daily life. But the less energy that you can give those things, the better. And the more energy that you can actually give intangible energies like positivity, working on feeling happier, working on journaling, working on witnessing your feelings, whatever it is that you're using, whatever tools that you're using to help improve your frequency and vibration, that is going to be more important in that moment. And that is my kind of best advice for you at the moment. And I know that that's a really, really difficult situation to be in. But the other good news is that you've had 100% track record for getting through life. That means that you've had a bit of a winning streak going on. And what makes us think that suddenly our winning streak is going to come to an abrupt end? I assure you it's probably not. You've got an 100% track record of getting through life. If we lean into these places and spaces, start to see that we've got this, we start to shift our vibration and frequency into creating a reality where we will have got this. And that's the reality that we want to create. So at the moment, what you are is just at that tipping point of a new reality coming in place. Now, I worked with a client a few years ago whose husband also had a job that he lost, and they were not very nice to him anyway. But they had a number of children. I think they had about 6 children and mortgage, and she worked from home, like doing wee bits and pieces at home, but didn't really bring in very much money. So the loss of his income was ginormous to them. And but she had told me on a few occasions that the company that her husband had worked for, they didn't value him. They were really horrible to him. That there's other people that were doing her husband's job that were literally getting paid so much more money than her husband. So her husband had literally been he'd been with the same company for like over 20 years. And they had not been putting up his wages every year and things like that. So there'd been a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Anyway, what they didn't count on was her husband being as popular as he was in his work with their clients. So what he did was he had no clause in his contract, and he went to a competitor, and he offered his services for the competitor, and he literally just wrote a letter to the competitor, went to the competitor literally could not believe their luck that this guy had literally walked in and offered his services because they had an opening. So they were absolutely... within 2 weeks of losing his job at the other firm, he had increased his wages by like 50%. So he was earning now double of what he was earning before. Furthermore, the new place was giving him a company car. He got a company cell phone. He got a lot of like really, really cool benefits and extras, including medical and lots of things. They treated him so well. And when a lot of his clients and customers discovered that he was now working for another corporation, what actually happened was that he brought a lot of new business into his new company. And as he brought a lot of new business into his company, they gave him a very juicy, very lovely, didn't have to do that, but they gave him a $20,000 bonus. And I'm sharing this story with you to say that sometimes when things are falling apart, they're actually falling together. And had my client in that situation and scenario husband not been fired, he probably would still be in, as my client said herself, he would probably still be in that crappy job, still working too many hours, still not being appreciated or looked after, and and still not being valued by the company that he was working for. But he got fired and everything worked out. And I just want you to keep that front and center, that sometimes things are taken away from us because we're changing our vibration and frequency. And the thing is that this was a pretty gnarly checkpoint for her as well, because what was happening was that, if she'd had an option back in the day, she would have told her husband to quit the job a long time ago because he wasn't enjoying it and he didn't like it. But the thing was, it was paying the bills and it was a placeholder. But while that placeholder was there was not room in their lives for something better. What the universe had done in that instant is come along and removed the placeholder, which gave them an oh shit moment, which is like, oh shit, what are we going to do? We've lost the job that's helping to pay all the bills here and everything. But what that was doing was giving the opportunity for another better fitting scenario to come in and replace that and actually elevate. And they actually quantum leaped, because before they'd been earning 50% less, and now they were earning 50% more. So, within, the wage increase was such a massive boon to them. And then within a few short weeks of receiving a $20,000 bonus for bringing so much new custom into that new organization. And they were so happy with him. I mean, they were absolutely delighted in the fact that he came. And of course, when his clients came over, they told the new company how much this guy, how good he was, and things like that. And it really as well. And so he actually changed my client's husband as well, because he got a real boost. He had been kind of abused in a little bit in his old job and been told how rubbish he was for so long. And suddenly he's in this job where the managing director is like inviting him out for lunch and praising him and, upping his energy. And she realizes all the work that she's did on her vibration and frequency was changing their families' lives. And that now, looking back in hindsight, she can see so clearly how that job had to go in order for something else better to come in place. So I hope this story inspires you. And if you are in a situation where you are feeling that victim vibes, or you're in a situation, you're listening to this and feeling that, what I call the fuck my life vibes, where we're like, oh my God, we're feeling really victimy, know that vibration and frequency can change it. What are we committing to? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. What are we committing to? Are we committing to feeling those feelings of feeling really, really crappy? And that's not to say don't feel those feelings. Of course, acknowledge them. They're there for a reason, but acknowledge them. And are you going to move on quickly and swiftly and say, okay, where can I double down? What are the feelings I really want more of? And can I double down on those right now? Because it's important. And that's probably going to be the hardest shift that we're going to do, because we're feeling scared and we're feeling worried. And sometimes the last thing that we want to do is get that gratitude journal out and start writing in it and start feeling the feelings of gratitude, because guess what? We're worried and scared. But that's the perfect time to get that gratitude journal out and really, really shift and consciously shift your vibration and frequency into one that is going to serve you and your family so much better. So I hope that this podcast episode really, really inspired you. And if you have any questions, then write to us at support@joannahunter.com. We would love, love, love to hear your questions, to answer them in this series of Ask Joanna and Skylar. I'll speak to you soon.